So for Sweet Pea Sessions today, I wanted to show a clip from our previous session. Here was the very end of our session, before I actually put a stop to it. I was trying to get her to flex and relax and release some of her tension. And she would kind of do this, as you can see here. It was kind of fake relaxation. She lowered her head, but she was chomping the bit and kind of standing kind of stiffly, and you just kind of felt like she was almost like she wanted to explode. And so I kept trying to encourage her to relax, and she'd again kind of do this where she'd kind of give me a partial relaxation, but it wasn't true relaxation. It was almost like you could just still feel like she was upset. As you can see here, she is really tense in her turn. I was just trying to get her to kind of keep rolling along, as we kind of had previously the last time we'd ridden. The only thing I changed this ride was putting a bit in her mouth, which, as after this session, I went back to bitless because I think it's too much pressure on her face and she's very sensitive. Not that I was putting a lot of pressure on her face, but these thoroughbreds, they tend to be quite sensitive. So here again, I was just trying to get her to relax again, just softly talking to her. So you can see how loose my reins are. I was just trying to get her to bend and flex. And all is kind of fine when her ears are pointed forward like this. When she's just kind of hanging out, she's not paying attention to me, but then when she does pay attention to me, it's with a response like this where her ears go back, she kind of braces me and gets upset. So here I held, and as you can see, I kind of held too long. Luckily I released when I did, and I actually decided, you know what, I'm going to be done with this because it's not going the way that I want it to. She's got a lot of tension in her body today. Kind of conversely, today in this session, as you can see here, she's already really relaxed. I actually thought I was recording previously and hadn't been recording, but before I even attempted to get on her, I just did our bending and flexing from the ground, make sure she was soft and supple in both directions. But today I decided, you know what, I'm going to go back to basics. I'm going to take away everything. I'm going to take away her saddle. I'm going to take away the bit. I'm going to go back to bitless because she's just happier like that. She just, just seems to be a very, very sensitive, in-tune mare. So I figured that if there was no tack between us, she'd be able to feel almost how I felt more clearly, and that would bring her confidence. She's not a spooky mare, so I'm not nervous or worried about, dogs or anybody, cars or anything spooking her. She's never spooked to anything. In fact, she's actually quite a bit lazy, I really believe. But even from the get-go, she did move off when I got on, so I just kind of reassured her, did a little bending and flexing, and was like, hey, I'm here. We're just going to hang out today. So my main goal for today was just in the beginning, just to get a few steps. You see there, she swishes her tail, she kind of puts her ears back again. So I was like, okay, I'll let you take a step forward. Sure, it was probably just to sniff this poop, which made me giggle. But that's all right. You gave me a step forward, so I gave her some praise. On the other side, I'm giving her some little scratches. I try not to pat her. I also try not to go anywhere beyond kind of just in hand's reach of her neck of patting her at this point, because she is kind of reactive to strange things. So I just give her little scritches with my fingers versus patting her. Again, she moved off really nicely there, and then decided to go sniff poop again, which again is fine, just taking deep breaths, and we're just kind of hanging out. Now this tail swishing is due to flies. I don't believe she's doing it out of annoyance. So what I did here is I'm just asking her to move by just the very lightest pressure on the rein. And she's bending and flexing, her neck's really low, her eyes are really soft, she's blinking. She just looks so much more relaxed today and feels more relaxed today. So I just kind of wait for her. It's like, okay, that's great. Thank you for flexing and bending. And then give her little soft verbal cues. Ask her to move forward. If she did one step, then I give her a little praise, a little scratch on the neck. Good job, you did one step. That's all we needed. That's all I wanted. We're not trying to move mountains here. If she got kind of fussy at all, I kind of just stop and wait. It's all about patience. With these horses that have been abused, or you don't know their past, or they're really dull, the most important thing is just be patient. Then she essentially just moved off on her own. I tried not to steer her too much. I tried to just let her wander at her own accord, as long as we weren't going to run into the fence or the camera mainly, because she does like to walk very close to the camera. Now the last session, she would walk straight to the gate and then get really stuck at the gate. So I was kind of curious to see, it kind of surprised me there, where she turned and went back over to the poop, which, again, not a huge surprise, but also it made me happy that she just didn't make a straight beeline towards the gate. There she almost gets a little bit frustrated. It's funny, it's like she still goes back to that old frustration first. I think she's the kind of mare that's going to need someone that always works with her on this and works on her relaxing before you start any kind of ride, no matter where she is, so she doesn't go backwards. Because even when I groom her still, she's so much better, but she still takes a step backwards when I go to put a brush on her body, which seems silly and weird, being around horses so long. I've never had one that was afraid of being brushed or disliked it so much, but she just acts like you're going to hit her with it. So it's a thing that you have to work on. So here I just kind of tried to direct her again. I was a little bit more nervous in my own self here, because this is where in the last session the kind of blow up occurred, and that blow up could have been a lot worse if I had done what I used to do in the past, which was kind of hold on and keep that pressure on until you get the result that you want. That doesn't work with a horse like this. You have to really pay attention to her body language and where she is. I'm not going to ask her something when she's not concentrating on me. I'm only going to ask her, like, there she gave a snort and she lowered her head. Cool. Then we'll ask you to move forward. Not when you're kind of uptight and acting like you're upset. She's just checking out things, just strolling along here. That's perfect. That's all we wanted, was just nice, just slow walking. She kind of gives a grumpy face at Mr. Finn. She's also kind of giving a little bit of a grumpy face towards me, because I'm saying, hey, let's avoid this mounting block. She was kind of walking towards it, which I also think might be a subject of avoidance. Like, she was trying to take me back over to the mounting block to be like, okay, you got on here, so you can politely get off here as well. Giving her just real gentle verbal cues. Again, not ever kicking her or kind of encouraging her forward too much with my leg at this point, because that seems to get her more upset. And that will come, eventually. I might never need to use much leg, which would be fantastic. I think you won't have to use much leg in general with her, because she is so sensitive, but maybe just a gentle squeeze, if anything. But she didn't need it at this point, so. Just so much more relaxed, just looking around. You can just tell by her whole body language. She said she seems to be enjoying it. Enjoying the breeze, enjoying the really nice day and the weather. She was like, okay, you're not actually asking that much of me. So that's how it kind of continued. And we maybe just rode for about 20 minutes. Here I pushed it a little further and said, hey, I'm going to go over this pole. She wasn't really quite sure about it in the beginning. She kind of stopped, pinned her ears at me. I was like, I don't really want to go over that. And I just kind of waited. I said, hey, will you go over it for me? She said, I don't want to. And I said, it's okay. And then she did. And she gets praise for it. So you can kind of hear me doing my little voice commands there. And now I'm kind of adding in a little bump with my leg to just ask her to move. So this was just the end of our ride. I decided to stop it there. She did such a good job. Never like to push things. She was relaxed. She was happy. And that's what it's all about. It's all about always ending on a good note. I really believe that. I really think no matter what you do in your sessions, even if it's terrible and you're frustrated and you're just hating every second of it, you just have to do one good thing, and that's what you want. That's what you really want to end on and make sure that it's a positive note, because they remember. I really truly believe that horses remember the last thing that you did with them.